Something unusual is unfolding in Abu Dhabi, and it's the kind of situation tournament planners rarely anticipate. This has nothing to do with an unexpected scoreline or a referee's decision sparking debate. It isn't even about match outcomes yet. What's happening inside the United Arab Emirates right now cuts much deeper than tennis results. One athlete has arrived, and before she's even stepped onto the court, the entire mood surrounding the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open has quietly but dramatically changed. Security teams are revising protocols. Ticket demand is rising fast. Community networks are activating behind the scenes. And every single thread of this sudden shift leads back to one name that has taken over conversations everywhere: Alex Eala. This isn't standard pre-tournament excitement. This isn't the polite buzz that usually surrounds professional tennis events. What's forming feels charged, emotional, and impossible to predict. There's an edge to it, a sense that something could tip in any direction at any moment. And surprisingly, it didn't start with a press conference or a bold announcement. It began with a short, almost forgettable video. Just hours before boarding her flight to Abu Dhabi, Alex Eala uploaded a brief clip online. No dramatic messaging. No carefully crafted storyline. Just fragments of preparation, quiet focus, movement toward a new city. Then a simple mirror selfie. A calm greeting. A subtle arrival. Under normal circumstances, that would have been the end of it. Scroll past. Move on. But this time, the reaction exploded. The clip didn't just circulate. It erupted. Across X, Instagram, Facebook, private WhatsApp groups, and diaspora networks, it traveled faster than most official tournament promotions ever do. Even veteran tennis media voices were caught off guard by how quickly it spread. But the reason had nothing to do with visuals or editing. The power of that clip came from what it represented. For hundreds of thousands of Filipinos living and working across the UAE, this wasn't content. It was a signal. Nurses finishing long shifts. Engineers checking phones during breaks. Hospitality workers, executives, parents balancing life far from home. All of them saw the same message at the same moment. One of their own had arrived. Not as a visitor. Not as a side story. As a serious contender. What followed wasn't casual interest. It was coordination. Private chats lit up instantly. Screenshots of tickets were shared. Carpools were planned. Buses were discussed. Work schedules were rearranged. Families reorganized weekends. This wasn't fandom drifting in slowly. It was a community mobilizing in real time. A global diaspora responding with precision and emotion. And that's where the real shock begins. Because tennis, as a sport, isn't designed for this kind of energy. It thrives on order, on structure, on predictable patterns. Players usually arrive quietly, disappear into black cars, and re-emerge only when match time arrives. Crowds are expected to clap politely, stay seated, and follow tradition. But Alex Eala is no longer moving through this sport the way players traditionally do. And the warning signs had already appeared. Just weeks earlier in Melbourne, organizers made what seemed like a routine scheduling choice. Eala was placed on a smaller outer court at the Australian Open. Limited seating. Minimal security. On paper, it made sense. Her ranking placed her outside the elite bracket. The decision looked harmless. It turned into disorder. Fans flooded the area. People packed in layers deep. Some climbed barriers just to see the court. Noise drowned out official announcements. Security struggled to maintain control. Match schedules slipped. Videos from that day went viral, not because of rallies or winners, but because of the crowd itself. That was the moment many within the tennis establishment felt something shift. They had underestimated her gravity. Now that same force has arrived in the Middle East. Abu Dhabi organizers watched those clips. They studied the numbers. And now they're adjusting rather than directing. Additional security briefings. Revised crowd movement plans. Internal conversations that weren't happening days earlier. Because the realization is settling in fast. Alex Eala is no longer just a name on the draw sheet. She is the attraction. To understand why this feels so disruptive, you have to rewind the story. 2 years ago, in 2024, She walked onto these same Abu Dhabi courts as a very different athlete. Back then, she was a hopeful teenager. A wild card. Ranked well outside the top 150. A Rafa Nadal Academy graduate with promise, yes, but still unpolished. Still discovering how unforgiving the professional tour can be. She competed bravely. Showed flashes of brilliance. But she was learning. That version of Eala came seeking experience. The version that arrived in February 2026 came with intent. In just 2 years, she didn't merely progress. She accelerated. She crossed barriers most players never reach. Breaking into the top 50, a line that separates potential from real danger. She delivered a stunning run at the Miami Open, pushing deep into the semifinals and forcing the global tennis audience to pay attention. She defeated established names. She proved her game could hold under elite pressure. And perhaps most importantly, she became the first Filipino athlete to truly break through the ceiling of top-tier women's tennis. That changes perception instantly. Because now, when she walks through an airport terminal, she isn't just another competitor. She's a symbol. And symbols attract crowds whether organizers are ready or not. This is why her presence in Abu Dhabi feels different. It's not about hype alone. It's about momentum colliding with identity. A young athlete stepping into her prime at the exact moment a global community is ready to rally behind her. The tournament hasn't even properly begun, yet the atmosphere has already shifted. Something has been set in motion, and no one knows where it fully leads yet. If you're enjoying this breakdown and want more deep dives like this, make sure you subscribe to this channel and stay with us till the end, because what comes next is where things get truly unpredictable. Her opening round matchup in Abu Dhabi looks simple if you only glance at rankings, but that surface-level reading hides almost everything that actually matters. On paper, it appears routine, a top 50 seed lined up against Zeynep Sönmez of Turkey, a player positioned well outside the elite bracket. Analysts skim past it, mark it as straightforward, and move on. That assumption is exactly where danger lives. These two aren't strangers. They've shared courts before, faced each other under different conditions, and even teamed up in doubles. Alex Eala has beaten her convincingly on grass, pushed through tighter battles indoors, and learned firsthand how Sönmez adjusts under pressure. There are no mysteries here, no hidden tendencies left to discover. Both players know the patterns, the strengths, the cracks. That familiarity removes comfort and replaces it with tension. Sönmez steps in with nothing to protect and everything to gain. Eala steps in carrying expectation, noise, and eyes from every direction. Then there's the surface itself. Abu Dhabi's medium-slow hard courts are demanding and unforgiving. They reward patience over impatience, control over chaos, and heavy spin over flat risk. Long rallies are common. Angles matter. Shot selection becomes a mental test. These conditions favor the exact style Eala has been quietly shaping for years. Her left-handed forehand, the looping lasso shot that exploded online in 2025, becomes lethal here when she has time to load and redirect. Given space, she can bend rallies and force opponents into uncomfortable positions. But tennis is never just about technique. Atmosphere reshapes matches, and this is where Abu Dhabi starts to feel unfamiliar. While it isn't Manila, it might sound like it. Filipino flags layered across the stands. Chants echoing through a venue built for reserved applause. A neutral setting slowly turning emotionally one-sided. That level of support can lift a player, but it can also weigh heavily. History has shown both sides of that equation. At the Philippine Women's Open, the roar of home expectation tightened her swing, turning routine shots into mental checkpoints. Crowds amplify emotion. They magnify mistakes. The same energy that fuels belief can suffocate rhythm if timing slips. That tension is now hovering over this tournament. The question isn't whether Alex Eala has the tools. It's whether she's ready for this scale of attention, this version of presence, this volume of responsibility. Technically, the signs point forward. Her off-season priorities were deliberate. Serve improvement to steal free points. Net play refinement to shorten rallies. Physical conditioning aimed at surviving extended matches in brutal heat. Practice footage showed sharper movement, controlled aggression, and intent behind every repetition. But practice exists in controlled environments. Matches live in disorder. And disorder is exactly what's approaching. Beyond the court, the ripple effects are already spreading across the UAE sports scene. This is a country used to hosting massive global events. Formula One weekends, UFC fight nights, international golf tournaments. Those crowds are predictable, measured, segmented. Eala brings something else entirely. A passionate, coordinated fan base that fills premium venues with raw emotion rather than spectacle. Vendors are adjusting stock in anticipation. Security teams are preparing for denser movement patterns. Transportation logistics are being quietly reconsidered. All of this because one 20-year-old tennis player arrived with a short phone video and a rapidly growing reputation. And this moment stretches far beyond a single match. Abu Dhabi isn't just another stop. It's the gateway to the Middle East swing. Perform here and momentum spills into Doha, then Dubai, then directly into ranking security for the Grand Slams. Eala enters this event hovering around world number 49. Her stated ambition for 2026 is aggressive. Top 20, possibly even top 10. Goals like that aren't reached through highlight moments alone. They're built through consistency at tournaments exactly like this. This is where narrative meets obligation. If she pushes deep into this draw, the story shifts again. She stops being framed as a breakthrough and starts being treated as a constant threat. A name opponents circle immediately. A player no one underestimates. That's why the initial clip mattered. That's why people tracked her arrival. That's why organizers are reacting instead of planning. The energy isn't manufactured. It's organic, and that makes it unpredictable. Abu Dhabi isn't just hosting matches anymore. It's hosting a turning point, whether it's ready or not. Every rally, every reaction, every adjustment will feed into something larger than the scoreboard. The tension is already set. The crowd is assembling. The conditions are aligned. What happens next doesn't just define a week. It reshapes how Alex Eala is viewed moving forward, and once that shift happens, there's no returning to quiet entrances or low-key scheduling ever again.